Hey, it's Robert, the Hush Performance. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on 9295 Honda Civic, the granddaddy of all Honda builds, it seems. Seems like everybody either wanted this or has one. We just picked up the Push Performance front ends. We now own all of their molds. They are now the Hush Performance front end, and we're gonna be installing one on the Civic here that we're gonna be resurrecting. This hatch right here was the one that I have the highest video count on our YouTube channel. It featured an all-motor F22 engine, which we plan on putting back in the car. There's no engine in it right now, but our friend Chris Whips right here is going to be installing the front end for us. All right, he's got the most amazing camera voice. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Chris, and today we're going to be working on a Honda Civic EG hatchback.
All right, and so we're going to be putting on our wide body three-piece front end. He's going to go essentially by taking the front end off and putting the front end on. These front ends right here, who the owner of Push Performance, Chad Barber, was somebody that I followed way back in the day, back when they were racing with NHRA. And then when NHRA pulled out, all that was left was the SFWD cars. But the issue with SFWD was the tire size, and anytime we increased the tire size, we had problems with the fender. What's up, guys? It's Robert with Hush Performance. The last time you saw this car, I was doing an auto to manual conversion on it. Now we're going to do a three-piece wide body conversion on it. Christian's going to help us out with the three-piece front end. He's done so many of these for us already, and for those that you aren't aware, like right now, as of now, we're fitting each one on a car before we send it out to you. And that's why he knows this pretty well. Except I'm not sure that you've taken a stock one completely apart before, or maybe you have. I'm pretty sure there's going to be fender liners in this thing. There's going to be all the plastic clips. All those things are going to be there. It kind of makes me sad to take it apart because it's so stock. But check this out, guys. This car's been sitting in storage back behind the shop for quite some time, and we decided to move it. But we were excited about it, at least I was, that it runs. Well, we went to go start it up, and the freaking timing belt broke on it. At least I believe the timing belt broke on it. This was a manual car that we bought at auction. I had this thing for about 5 years before I decided to do the manual conversion. I didn't even know if the engine worked. It looks like they had some issues with the transmission in the past because the auto transmission was halfway off when I bought it. So I had no previous information about the vehicle other than the gauge cluster, which said it had 230,000 miles on it, and I didn't do any service to the engine. Matter of fact, I didn't even put any gas in the car. After I did the conversion, I just turned it over and it ran, and it actually ran pretty well ever since. Except yesterday we go to move it and I'm pretty sure it snapped a belt. When I go to turn it on, there's like no compression at all, and I'm suspicious that it's a timing belt. I don't know that it is, but I'm like 99% sure that's what happened. So while Chris is working on the front end, I'm gonna be working on the belt. Have a belt, and the first thing that we did was check top dead center. Cam's top dead, the crank is top dead. Chris said, what if it's 180 off, which could be true, except that the lower timing cover timing marks match the crank pulley, but it did sound completely dead. And what are the chances that, let's just say this did flip 180, what are the chances that it flipped exactly perfectly 180 degrees? I don't know, but it did sound like it didn't have any compression, so we're going to take a closer look at that. Now, a lot of the factory brackets that hold on the bumper and the fenders are going to be removed, like this guy right here. There's one on the opposite side as well. This bumper support, most are getting rid of anyways because there's going to be an intercooler there and everything. Actually, I'm not even sure if this will fit with the bumper. It very well could. I don't think that it will though because of the cutout there in the bumper, so just keep that in mind. These will attach through some 12 millimeters right here. Check this out. This is how stock this is. Boom, the other 12 is right behind that. Check this out, this virgin core support, no crashes. That's what's up, man. So I hope that this fits really nicely. I think this might be the first stock car that hasn't been crashed that we put one of these on. Just by first examination, you're gonna have to figure it out. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not going to for you. We're not gonna make EG 4-door fenders. A lot of you guys would say that's easy. Then if it's easy, I'd say go ahead and do it. I know that that's not the case at all, and how expensive it is to produce something like that. And we're just not gonna do it. So as of right this second, we don't have it fully fitted on, but there is a gap right here. Pretty significant, almost like a 2.5 fingers, a finger and a half gap. You might be able to close that by a finger, but you're still gonna have a gap right there. And so that's what you're gonna be dealing with if you wanna try to put this on a sedan. As of right now, we don't even know how the bumper and the fenders are going to line yet. So we do need to trim this out anyway. We need to prep this to go out as it is. So I think once we get some more prep work done, we at least can see what that could look like in full. It's hitting the tow hooks. We had to trim the bottom of this out anyway. If that, it could swing over more. That thing is just nothing. You saw it, but it was top dead center. It was timed right. Did we drop a valve? You know, but like it would make compression at least somewhere else. So it does sound like the timing's off. It's pretty wild, man. What I'm gonna do is a cylinder leakage test. What this does is push compressed air into each cylinder. You want to do each cylinder top dead center, and you're going to do it in the firing order. So you're going to start with 1, 3, 4, and then back to 2. And each one of those is going to be a quarter turn to top dead center on the crank. Like I had mentioned, I put it back to top dead center, and everything is lined up, crank pulley and cam. That makes me nervous that there's catastrophic damage in the cylinder head, that it's just completely dead. Or is it possible that valves are closed, stuck? That doesn't make any sense. Could that mean that maybe the piston rings have shrunk, but all of them? That doesn't make sense, man. Well, let's find out. All right, I'm gonna do this next cylinder here. We're gonna do a quarter turn. All right, we're gonna watch that come all the way up. So you can watch it physically, at the timing belt quarter turn, but you could also watch it here, and you're gonna wait until it's at its peak where it's no longer rising, and then that's your top dead center. There we go. Ooh, look at that. Nothing. Wow. How? So right now I'm listening. Well, I'm opening up the throttle body to see if I hear air coming out of there. I was lifting up the exhaust or the dipstick, see if I hear anything come out of there. Let me go back to the exhaust to see if I hear anything in there. And I do. Actually, I don't. I don't hear anything coming out of there. Hear this. Coming out of the intake. Alright, I'm not entirely convinced this thing's broken, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so I'm going to do something unconventional. And I mean, in my opinion, a lot of mechanics, this is conventional, but there's just a lot of naysayers out there. So what could be possibly happening is that the valve seats are dry. There's something sticking on the valves. They're not sealing up all of the way. We're going to lubricate the whole area here. And then we're just going to not run the engine, but turn and crank the engine over several times to get that oil up and down in the cylinders and maybe into the valves, and maybe it might start building some compression. So what I'm going to do now is just going to run the crank until the oil light comes on, and that's going to tell me that the engine's got all the oil in all the places. Alright, did you see that? Watch, we'll do it again. There it goes. Okay, now the pump pressurized the engine and I got my cylinders all wet. Let's see what happens now. Now in theory this is gonna run, but it should run rough because the only ECU I have for this car right now is a F22. Dude, I'm totally sad about this. How did we kill it? They don't make any sense. Now I'm hearing some clicking. I'm not exactly sure what that I'm hearing there. Like why it's making that noise. Or where it's coming from. So let's keep investigating. I put some fuel in it. I noticed it was down. I was like, well, you know, there might not need to be any gas. And we do have at least one good cylinder. But is it getting spark? So here's another tool, maybe many of you have not seen, but this is OG stuff right here. You know, back before all the cars we see now with coil packs. This is how you can test to see if it actually works, if it's getting spark in between the distributor and the spark plug. Just take a look at what it does. So this is at least the one cylinder that's supposed to have power, or that's supposed to have compression in there, and I'm hoping that it would at least hit on that. So I'm going to recheck my timing again here, but man, like the freaking the timing cog all point in the right direction, at least on the crank pulley. So I guess I'm just gonna take it back off again and see if it actually did skip. It's just so odd.